No, I can't.
Hello, Steve.
Hello. Hello. All right. How are you?
Yeah, very well. Yourself?
Yeah, I'm okay. Got just wind swept here. I'll be with you
Thank-
in 2 minutes. Good evening, all. Good evening. It's nice to be back. I've been off for around about 6 months, and 6 months. I haven't been off 6 months at all. A few months, and I needed a break because I was doing this nearly every day, Monday to Sunday, and it was going around, and I needed a break. But I'm back, and I am ready to go. We got Martin Sharp on. Hello, Martin. How are you?
Hello, Steve. I'm very well, thank you.
Nice to see you again.
Yeah, great to be back as always. And I've just got a big thank you as well for recommending reading your book. I did that as well since we last spoke.
That's okay. Brilliant. Thank you. Thank you. Um, Tell everybody what you do. Because there's a lot of more people joined now. And what you do, and we'll take it from there.
Yeah, certainly. So I help mainly busy people, busy entrepreneurs, business owners, consultants, being able to fit fitness and lifestyle into their life, really. Mainly because as a busy business owner, I found that actually I put so much into my business that I became quite overweight. I grew to 154 kilos, which is 24 and a quarter stone. And it really wasn't a good place to be, not from a health perspective, and also not from a family or a working perspective. And it took a while to find a solution, over 5 years of looking to try and find something that would work and fit in with being a busy business owner or entrepreneur. But once I kind of cracked that and made it work for me, it's been absolutely fantastic. I've kind of completely changed my outlook. It's had a massive impact on my family life, and also means that I feel like I'm a million times more healthy than I was before. But the best part is I've been able to help other people do the same kind of things. So whether that's been project managers that are running major projects around the world, or whether that's entrepreneurs that are kind of really just want to pick themselves up and have a little bit more energy, that a little bit more creativity, a little bit more focus and things, or even people that have just really gotten to a position where they realise actually they do want to become that little bit healthier, but not too sure how to make it work.
Yeah. What was it like? What was it like in the beginning? To be kind of like obese and everything. You know, um, I know you're laughing. I know we talked about it before.
Mm-hmm.
I've been there too, so you know that. So, what was it like? Because you were obese. You had your family around you. What was it like? Were you being teased a lot, or were your family saying, look, Martin, you need to stop eating all the pies and everything and sort yourself out?
It wasn't like that at all for me in that kind of respect, because I kind of just grew more than anything else. It happened over a period of time, and people that were around me kind of just got used to it. And I think in the kind of circles that I was with, nobody really pointed it out or said this is a good or a bad thing. So I wasn't necessarily teased about it or poked fun at. And in many respects, to be absolutely frank with you, I mean, at one point when things weren't working, I was like 5 years in and I couldn't find a solution to it. My wife even turned around and says, "Look, Martin, you're loved by your family, you're respected by so many people around the world, and you still give everything you ever do. You live a happy life and things, which I do. Maybe that you're okay being the way that you are. Maybe actually that's fine." And I would almost got to the point where I'd accepted that and thought, actually, well, maybe I'm not going to change. Maybe all those aches and pains are just going to be part of growing old. Maybe I am going to feel like my health is going to deteriorate because of it. And I'd already had the doctors like give me the usual warnings. And for me, it was almost a coincidence that it was shortly after that actually I found the solution. But no, you're absolutely spot on. I didn't have that big thing behind me that says you're bad because you're being obese or anything. Quite the opposite in some respects.
Yeah. How about your family? No, sorry. How about your friends? If you went out like down the street or going into a pub, say, what was that like?
Again, it was perfectly fine. But again, with the circle of friends that I had and still have, in fact, or even with people I would go out with work. So work was probably one of the biggest elements because when you do a lot of what I was doing around large scale business change, I still do that today. There is a lot of going out and having business lunches and meals and social. You're building rapport and kind of consensus with people, which tends to always revolve around something that becomes a very common element in for everybody. And that one common element that everyone has is they all want to eat and they all have to survive. But it's when that's kind of taken to acceptance. And certainly these days, when I look around some of the boardrooms and stuff where I am working or have worked, it's interesting to see that people that I've known for years are still getting bigger. So it is something that does, if people want to become healthy and want to do something different and feel that kind of difference inside, they've kind of got to recognize it for themselves somehow.
Yeah, it's their choice, isn't it, really?
Yeah. I was once told, I mean, this is going back maybe 20 years when I first started doing canoe coaching properly, that you can't force something on people. People have got to recognize and choose that they want to change, choose that they want to do something, choose that they want to improve or take on a skill. If you try and make it happen, then all that happens is you end up at loggerheads with that person, and that doesn't really work.
Yeah, I've got a question for you from somebody, from Lee on the. Hi, Steve. I'm 21 stone. I've been trying to lose weight for a long time. In January, everybody seems to go to the gym, but then it fades away. We talked about this before, don't we? What can I do? There you go. So what can he do? He's 21 stone. Thank you for coming on. And he's saying that he wants to lose weight. What can he do?
Okay, so it's a brilliant question. It really is a good question, and a nice example of what probably a lot of people go through. You're absolutely spot on. I think week 3 of January is the most people last at their New Year's resolution.
Yeah. They give up.
February, the gyms are empty again.
Yeah.
Which is a telling tale because it really does then show how much the industry is not really helping. So. For a start off, there's kind of 6 key elements that Steve needs to try to get a handle on. And the first one is really starting to work on his own mindset. And it really does everything starts in your head. Because, everything starts as a thought or a feeling. That thought or a feeling then promotes action, and that action then creates a result. And if you don't get that chain of events right, then what happens is you get into this position where you have everything else is telling you to go do it. So you do it because something's telling you to do it. The doctor might be telling you to do it. You might be doing it because society is telling you that you should be at a certain weight. But unless you change what's in your own mind to say, actually, I want to be healthier. I want to achieve X, Y, or Z, whatever that goal is going to be for yourself, or that state of being is going to be for yourself, then that change doesn't become intrinsic. It's not something that's been driven from within. And that's kind of one of the biggest things. So for me, when I started to look at my own transformation, I was looking at my key values. What are the things that I really value in life? And kind of realized that it was 3 items. It was, I love helping my clients. I love seeing the results they get. I love the tests that they really challenge me to. I have to grow and I have to become better through working with them. I love spending time with my friends. I love the adventures we go on, the hijinks and everything else. And it's just good fun having friends around. You need to have your friends around you as well. And I also love my family. I absolutely adore my family. And I want them to use me as a springboard to their own greatness, to whatever place they decide to take themselves. But then when I kind of looked at myself and my values and thought, actually, if I don't sort out my own health and my own fitness and my own lifestyle, then the reality is I'm going to get to a position where I won't be able to help my clients anymore because I will be too ill to do so. But I've probably told you before as well, Steve. My dad is diagnosed with fibromyalgia. He's had several bouts of cancer. He's got diabetes, all sorts of other things, and he was medically retired early because of a lot of those things. My younger brother has already started down that same path. My uncle, his twin brother, died a few years ago because of it as well at a very young age. So it's not something that wasn't on the horizon. It really was. And then thinking about it from my friend's point of view, if I was no longer healthy enough to go and have fun with my friends or even help my friends out when they needed help, then actually that would really hurt me inside as well. What would cause a lot of angst. Because then I feel like I'm letting them down as well. But finally, and probably the biggest one was actually when I considered it with my family. And I thought, well, actually, not only would they not be able to use me as a springboard to push them forward and help them find their own greatness, but the reality is I probably become a millstone around their legs, holding them back because they end up having to look after me. And I thought that was not fair. I shouldn't be putting people through that. And once I kind of had that kind of change of mindset, then everything else, I'm not going to say it became easy, but everything else it just became a clearer decision. So it's a cold, wet day. I've got loads and loads of stuff on. Do I go to the gym or do I stay at home? I go to the gym because if I don't do it, it's going to affect my family. If I'm going out for a meal and, it's not a big celebration, because again, it's not about denying yourself. As soon as you get to this position where you're denying yourself or the other things like the words weight loss is a horrible, horrible term because the human mind hates to lose anything. It will try its hardest to retain as much as you can.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Yes, so get rid of that out of your mind. What you're looking to do is you're looking to improve your muscles. You're looking to improve your body tone. You're looking to gain all these kind of items, and the fact that you're reducing the amount of fat that you have on your body is a byproduct almost of what's going through it. And again, little tweaks like that make a big difference. But the same thing, you'd be going out. If it's not a big celebration thing, do I really want to have that drink? Do I really want to have that dessert? Do I really want to choose? How am I going to choose? Am I going to choose something that is actually going to help my body move forwards or hinder it? So I think definitely start working on that mindset piece. I think if you can get that clarity around what you truly value, what really you can hang on to in life, and that's what you really drive you, gets you out of bed every morning. It just becomes a lot simpler being able to make those decisions.
Yeah, brilliant advice. And also, said about Christmas comes and then people go into the gym and they kind of like all of a sudden they pay quite a lot of money out. And the truth is, at the end of the day, you're losing money if you give up. You know what I mean? So the gyms are like laughing at you, really, aren't they? They're saying, ha ha ha, I've got your money, things get, And the trouble is, for some people who are big, they would find it very difficult just to even get out the door and go to the gym because they're afraid of the stigma they will get.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And I've worked with people like that. One lady that I worked with, she was actually an entrepreneur of her own business, and she came out of quite an abusive relationship. Someone was starting to work with her. She didn't want to be in a gym or in a public area where she'd be working out or feeling vulnerable of any kind or way, shape or form. So it's even starting from that position and saying, okay, well, there's things we can do. What do you like? What can you do? What's available to you? Can we get little bits of equipment that you can use at home? Because to be frank, there's a lot you can do in your own home to actually get you started. So, for example, if you can go for a walk, most people can walk. That's a fantastic form of exercise. It pretty much gets most of the muscles inside your entire body moving. It's one of the things we're designed to do. So, going for a nice brisk walk, it's like once a day for a good hour or 45 minutes at least. It'll be a great way of starting yourself on some amazing cardio. And then when you think about, how can we improve your resistance training, your weight training side to help build the muscle sides of it? And there's things like, for example, if you don't want to go get equipment because you don't think you're going to be able to stick at it, or you're not too sure you want to make that investment quite yet, then you can do things like body weight exercises that are fantastic to be able to target those areas. Or you can adapt things you already have in your own homes. For example, a 1 litre bottle, like you get Robinson's squash in, if you fill it with water, that's the equivalent of 1 kilogram. The 2 litre bottle becomes 2 kilograms. So a couple of those, and maybe a few bags that you can put more and more of these things into, and straight away you're starting to adapt things you've got around in your home. So there is ways of being able to get started. Sometimes you have to be a little bit more creative, and I think that's where coming from that kind of busy background kind of helped a little bit, because when I was going out traveling a lot with work, sometimes I'd turn up and there'd be a fantastic gym. I can remember going to some of the gyms in like New York or in like Dubai, and they were amazing, every piece of equipment you could ever imagine. And some places I would turn up, and I'm not joking when I describe this one gym, and literally it was almost like just a scaffolding bar that had been bolted to the roof and a couple of dumbbells. And you kind of have to think, well, how can I deal with that? Or maybe you're just in a travel lodge for the night, which doesn't have a gym or anything, in which case, what can you take with you? What can you do if you really want to continue to progress? How can you make sure you stay in that habit and something?
And also it's the stairs too, isn't it? Climbing up and down the stairs, that's another thing as well.
I mean, every morning I do a morning class, which is completely free of charge. Anyone can join it. And we specifically look at just small quantities of weights, utilizing things like stairs and things, 15-20 minutes, and it just gets people moving and just makes a start. And it's a nice kind of easy way in, and it's a nice little community where we kind of all work. And again, it doesn't take much to get started, but once you have started, it's then something you can start to build on, and then how can we make it a little bit easier, how can we make it a little bit better, and start to have those conversations. I'm doing the movement now. What do I need to do about my meals? So we talked about mindset as being the first part. We're now into the mechanical pieces, your movement and your meals, which is what most people associate with fitness. So you kind of then you add in those two equations to it, because it is a balancing act. The more energy you put in, the more you've got to expend effectively, and there's no major science in the fact that if you would like to decrease the amount of fat that you have in your body, you need to have this imbalance where you're actually having less calories coming in than you are expending. There are some other tweaks you can do around that though as well. So for example, your body actually expends more energy than you would do actually doing exercise, just innately by just being and living, and even by just fidgeting. Those little incidental movements that you're doing every single part of the day. Just like me, I'm just fidgeting while I'm sat on this talking to yourself. So how can we make it so that your body burns more calories when you're just being, when you're just alive? And that comes by increasing your metabolic rate, so the how fast your body metabolizes. So one of the easiest ways is increasing the amount of muscle mass that you have in your body, because muscle mass is very expensive in comparison to fat mass, with the amount of energy it takes to maintain it. So by just the simple process of constantly increasing the size of your muscles, you actually increase the amount of calories that your body is going to go through. There are other nuances and stuff, which we won't go into right now, but essentially you can start to manipulate both sides of that equation with your movement and your meals, which kind of takes us through 3 of the 6 kind of key stages. The other 3, though, is the bits that people mainly forget about, or they kind of do it, but they get it wrong. So just to give us the complete picture, the 4th area is around moderation. And that's because a lot of people, especially busy people, sacrifice their sleep. And I usually say they sacrifice their sleep on the altar of business half the time. It's just too busy. And actually, it's when you're sleeping and relaxing and resting that your body does all of its repair work and does all of its conversions between, fat mass and then muscle mass, etc. And if you don't give it enough time to repair itself, then the reality is it's always going to be breaking itself down. It's always going to be trying to retain the adipose tissue, the fat tissue around your body. So you need to be making sure not only are you creating times to do the exercise and eating correctly, but also creating those times in your life where you can rest and digest and relax. And that becomes one of the areas that people don't kind of realize. I mean, I think we're talking about it a bit more, right? I mean, have you started to hear a lot more about people talking about stress and how stress is the biggest killer?
Yeah. We're talking about that. We've got that coming up. So hopefully we get all that out. So if anybody contacts you, what is your? I know we talked before, but what is your plan? So what do you do? So someone rings you up, hello, this is Martin. Can you help me? What do you do? So tell everybody how can you help them?
Yeah, absolutely. So if people want to work with me directly, then what we will do is we'll go through a consultation call, make sure we understand what it is about them personally, because one of the key things is health and fitness is unique to each person. It's not a generic plan you can pick off the shelf and expect just to work for you. We do need to find how your body works, what responds well to you in your makeup, and also what fits your lifestyle and your personality. I mean, it's pointless, for example, saying to somebody, go out there and run 20 miles a week if you're not a runner. If you hate running, you're never going to do it. So how can you find those things that actually are going to fit into that person's lifestyle? How do you make those things work? So, for example, it might be going out and playing football because you like the social aspect of it. It might be that you're a cyclist and you enjoy doing cycling something. It might be that you hate all those things and we have to find something else. But the key thing is trying to find those bits that actually really do work with you and really work on that kind of mindset aspect to try and tease out what are those real things that you do actually value in life and what's the real reasons that you're trying to make this work, not because of everything else, not because of the world, not because of the doctors or anything else, because of you. And then once we've kind of gone through that process, we obviously go through mechanical items of it, create meal plans, we create exercise plans, and we'll go through those. And we also do an accountability piece on this. So effectively on a week-by-week basis, we start to look at, how effective has that been, and what's working, what's not working for you. And that accountability is really important because it's not just about looking at how much you've eaten or not eaten, how much you've moved or not moved. It's looking at everything that happens in your lifestyle. So, for example, one of the project managers I was working with, we found out that actually it was the stress of his job. Because the way he described it is he switched a 9 to 5 Monday to Friday job for a 5 till 9 Monday to Friday job.
How would it be stressful then?
Exactly. So it was then saying to me, okay, he's got to set some boundaries. He's got to take time out for himself and for his life. But we wouldn't have known that unless we had that kind of conversational accountability going on a regular basis. And that's where the monitoring side of it really comes into play. And then building that kind of schedule that works for them, that kind of methodology that works specifically for that person. And that's what we will do. And we'll monitor and we'll manage that all the way through, creating small goals, medium-sized goals, and sort of the big, hairy goals that they really want to achieve, whether that's, a specific weight style, whether that's a specific performance level, that's a specific feeling. It might even be a big event like getting married and fitting into a wedding dress, whatever it is that's on that person's mind, and breaking it down into a way that makes it consumable, that they can utilize it. That's one of the other big problems most people have when they're coming to do these things, is they kind of have those great big targets. And I think I shared this one with you. Yeah. When I said I wanted to lose like 10 stone, and when I went from 154 kilos to 94 kilos, so that's 60 kilos down, and it's something like about 9 3/4 stone. I can't remember it. So I was kicking myself that I didn't make this big goal that I had of 10 stone down in the 18 months I was doing that. And it was my wife who turned around and says, "Why are you being so daft? You've just dropped 60 kilos."
Yeah, you did quite well. Yeah.
So again, it's having that accountability where you can start to talk about these things and bring it back to some reality, so that you're not always beating yourself up, because you are making progress all the time.
Yeah. And also, it's like, at the end of the day, people will say you'll do this and do that, but it's up to you if you want to lose weight or not. But you've got to do it. You've got to give up. I remember going to. We talked about this before. I remember going to a boot camp, and they bumped me onto a boot camp, right? And I was, it was like 32 stone off, and I couldn't hardly walk. I had a simmer frame type thing, and they said to me, well, the first day they said to me, right, I want you to walk around the sports centre, up the stairs, down the stairs, and they even gave me a pack. I had to wear this jacket type thing, weight jacket, and it was hard work. It was really hard work. But I thought, oh, I'm gonna go into my pedal with it, But I couldn't because I needed to do it for me, not for the press or all the people around you. Was kind of like saying, "Look at him, that fat kid," or whatever it was. It was about me, and that's what it's down to. It's about you. If you want to do it, you can do it. If you don't give up. But I remember, but after 6 months losing 11 stone in weight, I felt more better. I felt like giving up the wife and meet a new one. No, I'm only joking. um, um, but I thought, look, I was better in myself, more healthier. But the trouble is, when you kind of go to a gym, you start going to the gym, you want to lose weight. You're all so excited. You join the gym, you get there, and all of a sudden you think, oh my God, this is too much. This is, I don't want to get up. I got up at 6 o'clock every morning, went to the gym by 7. They were strict, and I was on this thingy machine. What was it called again? The treadmill.
Yeah.
And I was there. In my 5th month, I was actually like running on the damn thing. You know what I mean? Running on it. And we could all do it. Just one thing before we go. If someone comes to you right now and say, I need certain help, like setting out, but the trouble is they can't do it on their own. What would you say to them?
So they're going to set out, but they can't do it on their own.
Yeah.
Then we're looking at how we can help them effectively. So they don't have to do it on their own. I mean, you've got to remember, human beings were never designed to be alone. We're always designed to actually have people around us. Even the fact of procreation takes two, right? So we are not designed to do things on our own, and other people have already trodden the path that we potentially are looking to tread. And it's just finding the right person that works for you, that actually then gives you that help and assistance, and the way that actually makes it work for you. And it's not giving up. I think one of the issues with modern society is we've got into this kind of idea of immediacy. Everything's got to be done immediately, and unfortunately, there are a lot of people out there that prey on that specific need. Like I can remember during the 5 years where I trying to find ways of making it work for me. I tried all sorts. I tried things like fat burning coffee, for God's sake. I mean, who the hell thinks fat burning coffee is really going to work? It doesn't. It's just a ridiculous fallacy. But it's the thing. It's like, oh, this might work. I'm going to give it a try. And you're so desperate at that point in time, you will give anything a try. And realizing that actually it's a lifestyle change, and it's slow, and it takes perseverance and consistency and repetition, but by doing that and putting that effort in, the results are just fantastic.
I went to Slimming World once, and I walked into Slimming World, and every week I was losing like a pound, and £1, £2, £3. I was thinking, what am I doing here? The next minute, someone says, oh, I lost 2 stone, and I'm thinking, right. Then, and when the meeting came to an end, they were eating, what was it? Chocolate, weren't they? Maltesers and stuff, And I'm thinking, oh my God, you're eating Maltesers and chocolate and everything. I'm trying to keep off it, and you're there eating Maltesers. I'm thinking, all right then, what's this all about? And the trouble is, you've got to weigh it up wherever you go, even to a coach or slimming clubs and everything. Some slimming clubs, I'm afraid, I'll probably get told off this again. I think they're bolloco. I think they're kind of like a con. right? I think it's a waste of time. I think if you really want to kind of like lose weight, you either go to a coach who knows what they're doing, right? Like such as you and other people's really, who's really good at doing what they're doing. Instead of spending all that money out on, crap, basically, it is, isn't it?
Oh yeah. Yeah, but that's the thing. It's finding that method that really works for you, and unfortunately, sometimes it's a bit like dating. You have to kiss a few frogs until you find the one that actually works for you. Because there is a lot of absolute rubbish out there. I absolutely agree with you, but there are a lot of good methods out there as well. But they don't work for everybody, and it's finding that method that does work for you because everybody's body is different. And that's one thing to remember.
Yeah. Okay, I'll get this last question in. It's Rosemary. Hi, Steve. Okay. Hi, Steve. I've been to the gym now since January. I've lost only £9. That's actually £9 is quite good. Since January. That is really good. Really, really good. But my husband keeps saying to me that you haven't lost no weight at all. And he always puts me down, and it makes me to eat more food. Can you help?
Yeah.
Yeah, go on. Sorry.
Yeah, there's two parts of that. So losing £9 in January and like the first week of February is amazing.
It is.
What we usually use as a rule of thumb is to lose between £1 and £2 a week on average, because your body fluctuates over time due to water, but all sorts of bits and pieces. But to lose on average £1 to £2 a week is good going. So losing £9 in what 5-6 weeks.
Yeah,
brilliant, absolutely spot on.
Isn't it? It's really good, isn't it?
Yeah. The other one was regards to having the comments coming back from people in your life. Life, unfortunately, we have detractors in our life and supporters, and if you're finding somebody is a detractor in your life and they're doing that to you, then you need to either have some serious words with them or cut them out of your life. Unfortunately, they will continue to belittle you, and sometimes it's done with love. For example, when I was going through a lot of my training, I was getting quite tired at times because my calories were not matching the expenditure I was going through. And my mum would worry about me. She says, "Oh, you should have a good meal. You should eat this. You're not doing this. You're not doing right for your body." And she's not doing it out of malice. She's doing it because she's genuinely concerned, and not realizing that actually the process that I was taking myself through. And having that conversation to educate my mum meant that she becomes one of my biggest supporters. And that's what we need to find. It's those people in life that will support you and encourage you and keep you going. Be the person there that's going to help you, so that if you know that you have a weakness at a certain point in time, then call it out. Call out to the people around you. Say, okay, mum, dad, missus, kids, friends, whatever else it is, if I'm out with you and I'm going to reach for a beer, just say, okay, do you really want to do that? And it can be as simple as just having someone ask that simple question to you that you think, actually, no, I don't really want to do that. But they're there to support you and help you. Or even better, when they're going out with you, choose different activities. So like, for example, a good friend of mine, we used to go drink at the pub a lot. We used to have some really nice meals out and things. So these days, actually, when we meet up, we're more likely to go for a walk along cliff tops, along beaches, or we'll go cycling, or we'll take the dogs out somewhere. And that's a much more. We still enjoy time with each other and chew the cud and all that thing that you do as blokes. But at the same time, we don't necessarily have to be drinking or eating all the time.
Yeah, and the trouble is, before we go, families usually kind of like they probably have a joke with you. But the trouble is, to me, it's not on. They shouldn't be kind of like teasing you about your weight, because that could put you off easy on your weight loss journey. Rosemary, I would completely say to your husband and be frank with him and say, look, if you don't like the way I am, then bugger off. I speak plain, because at the end of the day, they're married to you. They should love you, even if you're big. Whatever it is. They should love you as you are. And it's totally wrong. I would still carry on your journey, Rosemary. Don't give up. And when you're about fitting in the 12th dress or something, 12, when you're 12 stone or something like that, let me know. And what we'll do is we'll put some photos on Facebook or whatever, and we'll spread it around and tell everybody about you. Because at the end of the day, you're special. You're losing the weight. Don't worry about your husband. And if you need any support, we're here for the support. And if you want to speak to Martin, I'm sure I will be able to get in contact with Martin for you. Martin, thank you so much. Nice to see you again.
You're welcome. Good to see you as well, mate.
All right, thank you for coming back. And I'm getting people that here said, "Is he coming back? This man knows what he's talking about." We will. I'll try to get him back probably every month or something. That'd be, if that's all right. We will try to do that. Okay. All right, and thank you very much. Thanks, Martin.
You're welcome, mate. Talk to you later.
Bye. Bye.
Bye-bye.